In fact, we could get you here a developing story, and that's also our big debate tonight. The bitter standoff between the Lieutenant Governor and the elected government that stalled governance on several instances in Delhi is now seeing a rerun in Puducherry. Chief Minister Narayanasamy has been on a dharna now for 6 days outside Lieutenant Governor Kiran Bedi's residence. He is alleging interference by Kiran Bedi. In fact, Narayanaswamy's Delhi counterpart, Arvind Kejriwal, who often claims to be a victim of a similar political situation, lent his support today to the Puducherry Chief Minister. And as the day went by, the possibility of a truce began to look bleak. But then, in the evening, setting aside their political battle that has been playing out publicly now, finally, the Chief Minister and the Lieutenant Governor decided to meet and talk out the issues. In fact, now we're given to understand that the meeting has just ended. We are hoping to hear something from the Chief Minister. Pramod is joining us on the phone line. Pramod, any indications of whether after 6 days the Chief Minister will finally go home tonight and call off his dharna?
Well, everyone is expecting that kind of development only because imagine this particular meeting, which was supposed to go for only 1 hour, started almost 5:20 and ended up only by 10 p.m. So more than 4 hours, the Lieutenant Governor and the Chief Minister have been talking about the issues. Hopefully, at least hopefully now, we believe that they have resolved the issues and the 39 matters that were pending as per the Chief Minister has been cleared off. He has come out of the Raj Nivas and we are expecting him to talk to us anytime.
Okay, Pramod, also quickly take our viewers through what have been the contentious issues before we go into the debate, and we've got a panel also with us. Take us through what has been the contentious issues between the government and the Lieutenant Governor, and what was the tipping point?
Well, if you need to tell us like the exact issue between the governor and the Lieutenant Governor and the Chief Minister, we can explain in one line. That being that the Chief Minister accusing of the Lieutenant Governor that she is trying to be an administrative head, whereas the people chosen Chief Minister is not allowed to do anything. And if the Chief Minister is questioning the movement of the Lieutenant Governor, all the files and other things that are supposed to be cleared off immediately, especially regarding the budget or regarding the ration and welfare schemes, they are being stalled. This is how the issue started already, but it seems like on 7th of February, he has sent a letter to the Lieutenant Governor claiming that 39 issues have been pending for a very long period, public welfare issues, and instead of she clearing it, she had gone ahead on 12th of February where she had went on a sudden check about road safety in position, and that seemed to be the tipping point which led to all this debacle, leading the Chief Minister to go on a 6-day dharna in front of Raj Nivas.
All right, Pramod, thanks so much for joining us. Of course, we'll come back to you once we have more details from the Chief Minister on what has been discussed and finalized. Will this be the end of the face-off that we've seen, or will it really go down the Delhi way, where the Lieutenant Governor and the Delhi government have now been in a bitter battle for several years? They've gone to court repeatedly over this issue. The issues in Puducherry, of course, include Chief Minister Narayanaswamy's allegation that Lieutenant Governor Kiran Bedi is interfering way too much in governance. The LG, of course, just goes on to say she's just doing her job. So the big question that we're asking tonight is this. For our netas, is power all that matters and not governance? Do they realize that every time they get into this battle, people of Delhi at some point and people of Puducherry right now are going to get affected? Let's say good evening to our panelists. Vivek Reddy, spokesperson for the BJP. I've got America Narayanan, spokesperson for the Congress Party. S. Muralidharan, political analyst. And Geeta Luthra, senior advocate. Let me go across to Mr. America Narayanan first. Mr. Narayanan, of course, we'll hear from the Chief Minister on what was discussed with the Lieutenant Governor. But what was so bad and why have the things become so bad that the Chief Minister of Puducherry had to sit on a dharna for 6 days?
Well, very simply, the Governor, Ms. Kiran Bedi, is acting unconstitutionally. The last year's Supreme Court judgment on the Lieutenant Governor's power, even though they talked about the Delhi Governor, Puducherry is different because it is not part of the capital. And the Lieutenant Governor's powers are very clearly stated. The Governor has to act on the advice, except in the cases which are directly under the central government. Now, even the recent court judgment related to the Delhi government cannot take any action on the central government staff. That's what it said. So these are the elected representatives. The governor has no authority whatsoever, as per constitution, to act on the administrative matters. The people, the chief minister and the MLAs are elected on the votes, and that's what democracy is all about. They have given assurances on certain things to the people of Puducherry, and the chief minister contends, and it is true, that the constitution clearly delineates the power under Article 239, 239A and 240. Now, the governor is acting unconstitutionally. The chief minister of the state
Can you give us an example?
do not have the choice as an elected representative.
Can you give us an example, Mr. Narayan, for the rest of India to understand what's going on in Puducherry? Can you give us an example of how Kiran Bedi is interfering with your governmental work? Because what we saw the last was Congress and AIADMK MLAs going on a protest against the Lieutenant Governor's decision to make helmets mandatory. Is that something that you'd see governor interfering with your functions?
Let's take, for example, I'll get to that. Well, the chief minister has a right and has promised to the people to waive the cooperative loans, and he's promised free education for Dalit students, the downtrodden people, increasing the freedom fighters' pension, and free power to the farmers, all coming under the jurisdiction and of the chief minister, and promises made during the election. She sits on these files and does not take any action. She goes directly to the police. For example, even in the recent thing where she wanted the helmet, the chief minister wanted to bring that and make sure he educated the people. He was not against the people wearing the helmet, and he is for it. However, you cannot go over and directly tell the state government employees, and that it is clearly ultra-virus of the constitution. She really has to be dismissed because she has the power to act only constitutionally. Instead, she acts as a BJP Binami governor.
Okay, well, we will go across to the legal expert in just a bit and get her views as well. But because you've made this charge, let me first get Vivek Reddy's reaction. Vivek Reddy, the allegation is that Kiran Bedi, as Lieutenant Governor, is acting at the behest of the BJP in blocking Congress government's way, just like the AAP government says in Delhi that the Lieutenant Governor there acts at the behest of BJP.
Well, I think the Delhi situation is totally different from the situation in Puducherry. At least that much is accepted. And the Lieutenant Governor had certain proposals. She has been looking into these proposals, and there must have been some good reasons. We really don't know what are the reasons. And it is hard to speculate as to the reasons why she sat over the proposals, or whether, as the learned panelist is pointing out, whether she sat over the proposals at all. But the issue is that any standoff has to be resolved, and she has invited the Chief Minister and his cabinet colleagues and the Chief Secretary for dinner today, and to discuss the letter based on which this controversy arose. The agenda of today's evening's meeting is to discuss that letter itself, where Chief Minister had sought solicitation of the Governor to clear these proposals. And I think this standoff, as the panelist is pointing out, is not a constitutional crisis, and it is bound to be resolved. And that is a step in the right direction, and there should be no issues about it. But to say that she sat over the proposals for an unduly long period, I don't think that is the right description or narrative of the events that have occurred.
Okay, Mr. Narayana, do you want to respond to that?
Why? Well, very simply, not only she has been acting unconstitutionally. The Chief Minister said, Kiran Bedi, as the governor, wrote to the National Green Tribunal seeking punishment for officials for the matter of a project relating to segregation of garbage. The NGD wanted the removal of garbage after some complaints were made. That the judge hearing the case rescued himself. Okay, that's number one. The Chief Minister claimed the Election Commission had even reprimanded the governor for violating the model code of conduct during the by-election in his constituency. See, what is happening is the lieutenant governor is not acting as a governor, but as a BJP Binami. And this is proven by the fact that even the election commission has reprimanded the governor, Lieutenant Governor Kiran
Okay, we're
Bedi.
going to keep going
Even
back
this
and
morning,
forth now. Let me get in
she
a
has,
legal expert at this point of time.
tweeted
Geeta
very
Luthra.
on a yoga.
Yeah, Mr. Narayanan, I'll come back to you.
No,
Geeta
we'll
Luthra.
get to that also, but I do want to tell how he has been abusing personally our chief minister. When he sat on a
No, I don't want to get into personal bites here. This is not about a political battle or about personal fights between a chief minister or the lieutenant governor. This is about governance for Puducherry. This is about governance for Puducherry. We are only going to stick to the government schemes, to the role of the lieutenant governor and what the law really says here. Everything else is your own political fight that frankly I don't care about, but unless it starts coming in the way of governance.
Our chief minister.
Sure, okay. All right then. I don't understand why a chief minister had to go on a dharna because mandatory helmets were being implemented. How is that a bad idea even if it came from the lieutenant governor? But let me go across to Geeta Luthra and ask Geeta Luthra, the Supreme Court last year said that there is a difference in the Delhi case and there is a difference in the Puducherry case, which is also different from several other union territories. What does the law say about Puducherry? Why are we in this fix today? Is it because the law is not clear?
So, in a sense, the law is not clear, but the law has carved out, strangely and maybe even unfortunately, more power on the union territories with the lieutenant governor, who then comes under the president. So, on one hand, you have an elected government. On the other hand, you have a governor who has more power than the power given to the governor in the states. In the states, he's only going to be advising and doing the same role as a president, which is really a guidance and advice, but ultimately it's the stay of the elected body that matters. And in fact, in any democracy, it is the say of the elected government that should matter, good, bad, indifferent. Now, having said that, because Delhi is different, because in Delhi 239 AA was enacted. 239 AA keeps power, and that's the special position of Delhi because of being part of the capital. So police, land, law and order, he's not supposed to have so many powers. Now, the standoffish issue of the helmets is a wholly unnecessary issue where one person says, let's bring them in a phased manner, and the other person, particularly because she has been in the police and been in traffic police and had those roles, she felt that this was important and therefore said, bring it in immediately. It's a safety issue, and the fact is that there are two arms of government. One is the titular executive head, and the other is the elected people, and then through the chief minister, they also become the actual executive and not the titular executive. But because union territories, there is a little more power with the executive, that is the titular head, as compared to the elected executive, which is from the legislative assembly. There is interplay. We've seen that in the AAP versus Lieutenant Governor controversy, which has been absolutely playing out in Delhi, where And every time the courts have actually weighed in favor of the elected government. We are a democracy, so we will tilt in favor of the elected government.
Yes.
At the same time, the elected government also has to respect the appointed executive, that is the Lieutenant Governor or the administrator, as
So,
he may
Geeta
be
Luthra,
called in Chandigarh or in the Andaman Nicobar Islands, etc.
yes, so
Yeah.
Geeta Luthra, though,
Yes,
I'm
yes.
right now reading out from the section 44 of the Government of Union Territories Act 1963, which says that the Chief Minister will aid and advise the administrator in the exercise of his functions in relation to matters with respect to which the Legislative Assembly of the Union Territory has the power to make laws. However, the same clause also allows the LG to act in his discretion in the matter of lawmaking, even though the Council of Ministers has the risk of aiding and advising him. So, if that is the case under Section 44, then
I need to come in.
yes.
I want to come in, please.
Can I just ask her to respond
want
on
to
my
come in.
question, and then I will come to you, Mr. Narayanan.
Because last year's judgment,
Okay.
just one quick minute. Last year, see, the recent Supreme Court judgment takes precedence on the interpretation of the law. Last year, the Supreme Court said, real authority to take decisions lie in the elected government. This is the meaning of the aid and advice. Titular head, Lieutenant Governor, has to act in accordance to the aid and advice, Justice D.Y. Chandrachud observed in his separate opinion. He concluded that there is no independent authority with the Lieutenant Governor to take decisions. This is except in Delhi Article 239, but
isn't
here
that
in Tamil Nadu,
specific
in
to the
Puducherry,
Delhi?
there's
This
no,
is exactly what Geeta
two
Luthra
things.
was telling us right now. Isn't that specific to the Delhi territory, Ms. Luthra?
So so Kiran Bedi is acting
Exactly.
unconstitutionally.
One minute, American
After
Narayanan.
the
I need clarity
But
from
that
Geeta Luthra
is-
on this,
one
and then
minute.
I will go across to Mr. Muralidharan.
Do you
Yes,
mind?
yes.
Yes. So, in Delhi, there are these three
Hello?
specific powers which are kept under 239AA. But despite that, what aid and advice, we have got it from the British Parliament, and what it really means is the spirit of it, which means really you will follow the Council of Ministers. It means that you will respect the decision of the Council of Ministers.
follow.
It is, this is the convention. So I think what we have to look at is reading what the convention is supposed to be rather than the strict letter of the law.
Okay.
And a parliamentary
spirit of the law?
system, which we have followed from Great Britain, is really supposed to be in the spirit of what it is. And the spirit is that you would follow what the Council of Ministers says. At the same time, you would guide them, you would advise them, and they should not take on a confrontation, nor should the Lieutenant Governor be in that role either. So both have to have a interplay where a great deal of respect has to be given to the elected government.
Okay, Mr. Muralidharan has been also listening to everyone. Now, Mr. Muralidharan, where do you stand on this debate?
Okay, Tanvi, we need to understand this in a layman's language. Now, why is Union Territory different from Delhi? Delhi is still governed by India. Union Territory falls. These were states which were like literally ruled by foreigners. So there are, we know for information that French government elections are held in Puducherry also, where the citizens of Puducherry are allowed to vote to select the French government. So this is under the control of another country, sort of. Hence, the Union Territory law is completely different, where the Union government has a better hold on these Puducherry type of Union Territories. Having said that, now let's look at Kiran Bedi. Now, Kiran Bedi, everyone knows this is a hotshot police officer. She did so many reforms in Tihar jail, for which she won a Magsaysay award, etc. Then she was got into politics, etc. And she served as an IPS officer for almost 32 years, 32 or 35 years, right? So we know all that. And what we don't know, she's also a tennis star. She was a national junior champion in 1966. Now we are talking about a very intelligent, smart lady, bold lady, somebody like DIG Deepa of Karnataka. No, we're not praising her, sir. We should understand her caliber. If she is taking things into her hand, that means she knows the law as equivalent. No.
1 minute, Mr. Narayanan. Just
she knows the law better than the Chief Minister here. She has been a bureaucrat, sir. She has been a bureaucrat for 35 years, so she knows the law better than anybody else. So she has taken certain things into her hands. She knows the law is going to protect her. This is where
a bureaucrat who does not
she can advise the elected government.
The elected government is
wearing
not
helmet,
to be a bureaucrat. Has to be dismissed.
Sir, you oppose demonetization, which happened overnight. We are talking about helmets. Helmets cannot have to happen overnight. It cannot wait for 6 months. This is a matter of security and life. If the governor is saying the imposing the helmet rule has to be immediate, it has to be immediate.
An election stunt.
It is you criticize about demonetization, but you don't want to.
She has been a governor for a long time.
You want people to die for next 6 months so you can win the elections. Then you can force them to wear helmets. Sir, that is wrong. Your attitude is wrong here. If Mr. Narayanasamy has a problem, he should have gone to Supreme Court, just like Mr. Kejriwal.
Acting as a dynamic.
Okay, 1 minute, gentlemen, 1 minute. I mean, firstly, yes, there are other issues. This battle has gone on now for since the time the Narayanasamy government came into power. But I find it absolutely ridiculous that there were elected representatives who came out on the streets, that the Chief Minister of Puducherry came out on the streets to protest against a helmet rule. I mean, how petty can you be in your fight and in your hate against one person, that even when that person brings out a rule in favor of road safety and safety of citizens, you don't want to accept that? What do you mean phase it in? I don't get this at all. How much blinded and how carried away are you by your hatred against the Lieutenant Governor right now, just because you think she is a BJP pawn, that you will actually block such a rule? Yes, Mr. Narayanan, that is to you.
Can I respond to that? Yes. First thing is, nobody opposes the law of bringing the helmet. Number one. Number two, she has been the governor of the state for quite some time. She has chosen the election time to do this so she can play to the gallery and show off her power. Number three, she has been acting unconstitutionally because she has no business to interfere directly with the police force. Number four, she has been holding the Dalits, the publics, the thing that has been passed by the elected government to what they have given as an electoral promise.
Yes.
She has been holding that.
So let me take one of those examples.
She thinks she's a police officer. She does not think she's a police officer who has to obey to the elected representatives. She's acting like a dictator and a BJP Binami dictator.
Let me take, firstly, if you think she's acting like a dictator, please go to the court and wait for the court to give a ruling on this, as is done in every other part of this country.
Well,
Instead of your Chief Minister suspending all work and operations for 6 days and sitting outside the Raj Bhavan and making personal pot shots at the Lieutenant Governor. Secondly, let me give, just to make the point that you are raising, let me give an example.
Who took a personal pot shot? It is a Lieutenant Governor who took a personal pot shot
Governor
on the color of our Chief Minister.
Reportedly suspended the free ration scheme, the free distribution of... 1 minute, Mr. Narayanan, let me finish my point. I understand you're very upset about what she has said. Now let me finish my point. This may actually be in favor of what you are trying to say. Lieutenant Governor allegedly suspended the distribution of rice to the poor people scheme, the distribution of rice ration scheme, because she wanted the villagers to ensure that the open defecation free scheme is implemented. Now, this has been raised as one of the issues by the local representatives there. Perhaps that is overstepping, Mr. Muralidharan, as a way to implement your scheme. You may want citizens to follow open defecation, to ensure that your village is open defecation free. But if they're not doing so, to take away their food may not be the right way to go, which is why they're today complaining that our welfare schemes are being blocked.
Yeah, Tanvi, it's for me?
Yes.
Yeah, Tanvi, I need to give a small example. You know what happened when soon as Ms. Bedi came into Puducherry, there was an issue about a temple elephant called Manakula Vinayagar temple elephant, which somebody from another union minister from the BJP government wanted it removed under the pretext of cruelty, where there was none. But Ms. Bedi supported it and wanted it removed. But we protested, we fought, we went to court, we did everything. That's the way to tell them, and we also wrote to her, we wrote to many other ministers and the PMO stating what are the reasons. And she understood and she let it go. Now, the problem here with Narayanasamy is he didn't go to court. Or this 6 days, he should have moved the court and he should be doing his functions. He has not done that. That's the problem here. He is behaving like, some, kindergarten students. This is not acceptable because the government is paralyzed. In Tamil Nadu, we had much serious situations.
Yes.
We had worse situations, Sterlite, Kaveri, NEET, etc. But the chief minister was in his office doing his job. People would have complained saying that he didn't go to Gaja victims, he didn't go here, go there. But there was no governance paralysis. Things were happening and moving. And 6 days, if Narayanasamy is going to sit outside her office for a trivial helmet joke, I would call it a joke, and Congress is, Congress want to polarize. I also tell you,
Vivek Reddy
these
wants to come
are
in.
pushed by DMK
And then
too.
and Vivek Reddy
these
wants to come
agendas
in.
are normally instigated by them.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Tanvi, yes. Tanvi, I think, Tanvi, this is all a big drama by the DMK and the Congress. And it is they who have to be blamed for raising this during the election. See, there is a Supreme Court order which says that helmets are compulsory. The Lieutenant Governor has said that in compliance with those orders, they have to be enforced. This is the rule of the law of the land. In such a situation, if Narayanasamy sits on the streets and says, no, I will not enforce it, and this is the core controversy, I think Mr. Narayanasamy must first understand on which side of the law does he want to be. Does he want to be on the illegal side or the legal side? Unfortunately, this form of a common sense wisdom is not dawning upon Narayanasamy. And why the DMK and Congress are getting together in this, staging this dharna is, they want to create a big political issue out of this. But the sad thing is, they are not talking of the enforcement. They are not talking of how the rule of law has to be implemented.
Well, everybody is making a big political issue out of it.
Being a chief minister of a state,
yes,
with his cabinet colleagues, can he just go and sit on the footpath opposite the governor's residence? This is truly shocking. And
for
because he doesn't
days.
want to implement the law.
For 6 days.
And therefore, what is the extra constitutional nature here? It is the chief minister who is behaving in an extra constitutional manner.
Yes.
And that is the sad part.
In fact, I want to just highlight to our viewers also how ridiculous this drama has now become. He's been sitting there for 6 days. Right now, after a 5-hour-long meeting with the Lieutenant Governor, I'm given to understand from a reporter that he's in a discussion with his cabinet ministers in the Puducherry Assembly Committee Hall. At this hour, they're having a discussion about this. And in those 6 days when he was sitting there, there were letters and tweets going back and forth between the chief minister and the Lieutenant Governor, publicly fighting about this issue, but refusing to talk to each other face to face. For 6 long days, this drama went on, viewers. Can you imagine that? Now, so which is why it brings me to this point, and I'm going to ask Geeta Luthra this point. Should we just relook some of these norms, Geeta Luthra? Like you said, and I agree with you largely on a democratic idea that if people have elected a government, that elected government should be allowed to make his policies and implement his policies, whether it's in Delhi or Puducherry or wherever. Maybe we need to relook at this system and come out with, you know, a completely new set of rules, so at least there is some governance that happens.
So, you know, in a healthy democracy, you would expect the Lieutenant Governor to call the Chief Minister and iron out any... They are like an elder. They are like, you know, an advisor, an elder, somebody who has to give blessings and who has to just give a guidance. That's it. So best is you call them once a week at least, iron out the issues. Why should there be 39 issues pending? Either you send them for a rethink to the Council of Ministers, and if after rethink they still insist on it, then maybe the Lieutenant Governor has to give way. But the Chief Minister can at the same time not be like a petulant child.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You expect a little more sense of responsibility from...
Yes, Mr. Narayanasamy, do you want to respond to that?
Chief Minister.
Yes.
So that's really what I'm saying.
Yeah, the Chief Minister has... Can I come in? Can I come in? The Chief Minister has waited for 2 years and he has never taken it to... From day one, Lieutenant Governor Kiran Bedi has been acting as an autocrat, not acting as a constitutional governor.
So, do you think...
Chief Minister has waited for 2 years.
So, what's the solution
so
now, Mr. Narayanan?
Why now? Act on the electoral
What is the solution now, Mr. Narayanan? You've waited for 2 years. You're quoting to me a judgment which was about the Delhi government.
I will answer that.
Delhi government versus the centre, or Delhi government versus the Lieutenant Governor. What is the solution to the Puducherry problem? Why don't you just go to court and seek an answer from them?
I will answer that.
Yes.
Exactly.
Everybody said
elections around the corner.
Go to the court. But when you go to the court, it takes years to come with an answer. We have to deliver to the people of Tamil Nadu and people of Puducherry. He talked about in Tamil Nadu, it does not happen. Chief Minister Jayalalitha and Karunanidhi has gone on a dharna.
If you have
Please
no
understand
faith in
that.
courts, stop playing this drama. Stop playing this drama if you have no faith in courts. At least you must have some faith in the courts of the land.
The process of
what do you mean
going
it takes
to the
a long
court,
time?
we know how
It's
long
a Chief
it takes.
Minister's petition.
We know how long
if at all
takes.
it is filed. This shows this.
Yes,
your
it takes
whole
a long
grievance
time.
is concocted for the elections.
Do you think it is decided
This
in a day?
This
No, it has not
grievance
been.
is a seasonal
People of this
election
country know how long it takes to get a verdict in the court.
Concocted now.
You know, and this politics that is going on
sir,
right now at the cost
petition, it
of voters.
It takes days' time.
You had the Delhi Chief Minister and his deputy come out and express their support to the Congress government in Puducherry in this issue.
Has no relevance to the state.
Arvind Kejriwal very quickly forgetting what the Supreme Court has already ruled in his case, where the Supreme Court came out and said that when it comes to the matter of the Anti-Corruption Bureau, it is in the hands of the centre. Where the Supreme Court has already come out and said when it comes to the matters of land revenue, it is in the hands of the centre. The only point where they have not been able to come to a decision is that of services or bureaucrats or babus, which is what they have referred to. In most other matters, they have decided in favor of the power being given to the Lieutenant Governor. And so Mr. Chief Minister of Delhi now is raking this issue up further by going all the way to Puducherry to support that government in their fight. I've got one caller on the phone line from Chennai. Shrikant is on the phone line. Go ahead, Shrikant. What do you think is happening here? Do you think it's fair to the citizens of Puducherry?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, what Kiran Bedi does is absolutely right. We people came to know about what she is doing is completely showing the complete image of the government, because this government is spending the excess amount and she is questioning all that. Because, for example, if you take if a person who earns 40,000 and is spending more than the 40,000, this is what happens. Because she is asking why you are spending money unnecessarily. These questions. Number two, this Dharna is coming up because she has the people of the Puducherry to wear a helmet, because this rule was already mandated by a Supreme Court. As even in Tamil Nadu it is implemented after, I don't know what's wrong with the government. They taken back these rules. But what she is doing is absolutely right. The governor should not be a rubber stamp, and she should be, a lieutenant governor should not be a rubber stamp. She has her own rights to ask this question to the people, especially minister and chief ministers, because they are responsible for the public, and we public, we can't raise a question to the chief minister. She is asking on behalf of herself.
To the public, not to the governor.
Well, look at that. That's the Lieutenant Governor there on the visuals that were just playing out. Thanks, Shrikant, for calling. Where that's Kiran Bedi on the streets, and she is speaking to these citizens. She's brought in the role of mandatory helmets. And she's spreading awareness, and then she's stopping them and she's talking to them and saying, hey, you must start wearing helmets. It's for your own safety. And many of those citizens are smiling and glad to be speaking to her. Others are obviously going to remember this as a lesson for their own road safety. And I cannot understand why Chief Minister Narayanasamy thought this was a bad thing, and why he thought he, along with Congress MLAs and even AIADMK MLAs, should oppose that. It was horrifying to see AIADMK MLAs come out on the streets and start smashing helmets in a protest. This was their way of protesting against Kiran Bedi. Now, there may be other problems, and yes, I believe that the elected representatives and government should be allowed to implement their own schemes and policies. But if there is a face-off, if the governance has come to a standstill, then maybe they need to take a legal route to figure this out. 6 days of dharna and not doing any work and opposing good people-friendly rules like mandatory helmets is really not the right way to go about it. I'm going to thank all of our panelists for joining us at this time. We're keeping a close eye in what's happening in Puducherry. The meeting between the Lieutenant Governor and the Chief Minister has ended, but there is no word yet whether he's going to call off his dharna, whether they've come to any sort of agreement after 6 days of standoff.